Noisy Nora is absolutely adorable. There were a couple of bits of animation that I really loved, and I'll discuss those in a moment. But this is really fascinating because, on the one hand, I feel like it would absolutely appeal to children, but I think it's got a really important message for parents. This was released in 1994. It's directed by Virginia Wilcox, written by Rosemary Wells, and narrated by Mary Beth Hurt. And it's about this little mouse called Nora. She is absolutely gorgeous, and I love the animation style for this. And her family are busy with their own activities, busy with baby Jack, who I'll talk about in a moment, and Nora is getting no attention. So she starts to make a lot of noise, and she's still not getting the right attention. She's getting into trouble for making noise, of course, and for making a mess. And then she decides to do something. And I'll discuss that with a spoiler warning in a moment, but I think that that gives us a really important message for parents. The animation quality is stunning. It is so gorgeous to look at, and there are two bits in particular that I really enjoyed. So one is not a spoiler, one is just baby Jack. I just loved how cute and fuzzy he looked. The other is a spoiler, so I will discuss that now, and I will discuss the message and what happens at the end of the film. So spoilers from now. If you don't want any spoilers, definitely just go and check it out. The whole thing is about 6 minutes, and I promise you will not regret it. It is so cute. So, spoilers from now. The moment that I particularly enjoyed, I loved it all, but when baby Jack was being dried after his bath, Nora was in a bucket bouncing around the room. It was just the cutest thing. It was very, very funny, very entertaining. And then we have what Nora ultimately does. When she realizes that making noise isn't getting her anywhere, she decides to fake running away from home. And her parents are frantic. They're looking in the trash can and they can't find her. There's no sign of her. And then we realise right at the end that she's actually hiding in the cupboard. But the point there is that her parents neglected her to the point where she felt she had to take drastic action. And her parents were not paying attention to the fact that she needed their attention. And of course, she was getting their attention in negative ways when they were telling her to be quiet, but that's not what she needed. And I think that that's more so for parents, a lesson in the fact that if you have other children and they need your attention, that's obviously fine, that's important. Baby Jack can't dry himself, but you need to be aware that there are other children in the family and that they will also need your attention. You can't neglect them. And obviously it's a balancing act, of course it is. There are going to be families where one child may need more of a parent's attention than the other child, but it's still important to be mindful of how that other child is feeling. Some children, like Nora, will act out. They will do anything they can to get attention. And often negative attention is better than no attention. And this is what we see with Nora. She was escalating things, making more and more noise and more mess because it was the only kind of attention she was getting. There are, of course, children who will go in the opposite direction. They will retreat. They will not say anything. They will withdraw from the family dynamic. And that in itself is also heartbreaking. And it's important to remember that regardless of whether you have a noisy Nora or a quiet child, you need to make sure you're aware of how they're feeling and aware that you're not neglecting them. And I think that's a really important message. Of course, for children, it's a fun story about a noisy character who ultimately plays a trick on her parents and pretends to run away but hides in the cupboard. I hope that no child watching this gets that idea, though, because that would be terrifying. If a child disappeared and you couldn't find them and you thought they'd ran away or been taken or anything like that, that would be horrendous to experience. So I hope no child actually put their parents through that. But certainly there is a lesson there, and that some children will feel the need to take drastic action if they're not getting the attention that they do need. So I really thoroughly enjoyed this in so many ways. Beautifully animated, adorable characters, adorable animation, and obviously an exceptionally important message. Noisy Nora is so delightful and absolutely worth watching.